Welcome back to the Brothers Workshop. As always, I'm Sean, and today we're back in the shop with our 1966 Chevy C20. In our last video, we replaced the old door with this new aftermarket one. And today we're going to show you exactly how to install all the inner workings. Before we get into it, if you're into this kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the videos that we have pertaining to this truck. We have a lot more to come and you're not going to want to miss out. While you're at it, hit that like button, especially if you got value out of this video and you learned something. Heck, if you just enjoy this kind of stuff, hit that like button and share this with your friends. Obviously, the first thing we're going to do is assess the tools that we need to perform the job. Right now I'm seeing I'm going to need a Phillips head, but also in here I'm going to need a regular screwdriver. Once we remove this, we'll be able to get in there and see what we're working with. And we'll also have to remove the locks right here with a Phillips head. Then we're going to come around to the vent window and remove 3 screws, and we also have 2 more Phillips heads right here. For the sake of saving some time, I'm going to be using my drill, but if you don't have a drill, you can use hand tools. This is very basic stuff. All right, to help everybody out right now, I'm going to flip this around so you guys can see it better. I'm only using a screwdriver, guys, because this is all right. Boom. On a scale of 1 to 10, that was probably about a 6. It wasn't that bad, but you really have to take your time so you don't break the glass. Make sure you remember where all of the screws go, because they are different sizes. And hey, that was my first time, so it really wasn't that bad. Just take your time and pay attention to where all the parts are. That's my only advice. Okay, so I'm going to install the door handle first. That way we don't have to mess with it later. It's just 2 screws, and they go in there pretty nicely. But it's easier to get this done while nothing else is in there. We've installed the handle. You guys can see it's just this screw and this screw. We're going to zip them down. Now I know you guys didn't get to see all this, but I just pulled this out of here because we have to get this in. This is the weather strip for this channel here. That metal bracket that I just put right in here has to line up with this one and another one at the very bottom. That helps guide your window up and down. Pretty much just a window channel. Now that I have the weather stripping in, I'm going to go ahead and place all the mechanical parts in, with the exception of the door latch. Basically right now we just want to get the crank in so that the window can come up and down, we get that glass installed, and then we don't have to stress about it anymore. Now I know this is very difficult to see, but I had to struggle a little bit as I put the one arm into a rail that is mounted right here. You could see that on some of the rivets that were here. As you guys can see, this rolls really nicely. That means I did a good job. I know. Hit that like button for me. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put the glass in first, the large section, and then I'm going to put the vent window in. I'm hoping to avoid any issues later down the road with the glass, because the last thing I want to do is break that thing. Now the way I'm going to do this is I've lined up the sliding rail with this little hole right here above the mechanism, the scissor arm, but to the left of this little wheel. That's going to give me enough space where I could zip that little screw in. Then I'm going to slide the window to my left and zip the last screw in, and it should be good. We're going to be lining this little guy up. Now I've chosen to use a screwdriver just because it's a little difficult to get in there. Now that we have it installed, you can see that slides nicely. I am going to go ahead and put that weather stripping in, even though I want to get new weather stripping at another time. I just don't have it right now. So to protect the window, that's what we're going to do. Now these come with little clips that will clip in right on the edges here. Now that we have that installed, and again, someday I am going to have to replace this. It is pretty beat up and worn out, but I'm just trying to get this prepared for paint. Making sure this piece of glass is in the left-hand channel is one of the most difficult parts of this. It has to be in that channel properly so you could get the vent window in. When it comes to installing this vent window, let me break this down pretty easy for you guys. And I'm going to show you a trick that I had to learn the hard way. If you don't do this, you're going to end up scratching your paint. And if you have a nice truck that's already been painted, it's going to be a pain in the butt. This is just primered, waiting to get painted, so it's not a big deal. But this piece here at the bottom sticks out. And that's going to be a real pain in the butt for you. There's a little indentation here at the top. So what you do is coming through the window, fish it down sideways. As you go, turn it into place. As you do this, you're going to want to work the window into the ridge here, because that keeps the window, as well as the vent window, in place. Now we'll zip it down with those 3 screws that we took out earlier. Okay, the vent window's installed with the exception of the last 2 screws. They go in right down here. Whatever you do, don't forget about these ones down here. They keep the vent window in place as well. Before I tighten those screws down, I want to make sure that the glass is properly seated in the crevice. Otherwise, it could crack. And the last thing I want to do is crack the glass now when we're almost done. All right, time to get the locking mechanism in, and then we'll be done. Because I chose to do this part last, I now have to go inside here, fish this underneath the window rail. It's okay, it's just going to take some time. And I have to be really careful, especially if you're working with a painted truck. And there you go. Again, guys, making sure you have everything lined up properly is key. The last thing we're installing, guys, is going to be this little piece. That prevents the door from opening way too far and damaging the outer side of the door against the fender. Slide it through here and out the little hole over here. Well, guys, the old owner decided to use drywall screws to hold this panel on before. And I'm not about to do that. So I'm using a couple that I had from another project that are the same exact size. And we're going to go ahead and just use a few of them until I can make it to the hardware store and I can get some proper screws. I must have did something right. Finally. Well, there you have it, guys. Obviously it worked. All the lines match up right where they need to. That is a sure tell sign that I did all right. Obviously this is a replica, but it closes much better than it did before. And all the body lines are matched up, right where they need to be. Check this out. My old Uncle Ed, when he passed, I inherited all his tools and all of his hardware. Well, he kept every nut and bolt he ever had. And thank goodness, because I've used more than a few of them on this truck. And right now, I just grabbed a couple, zipped them in, so I could show you just how good of a job I did. Check that out. First go, guys. I'm not a body man, I'm not a mechanic, but I am excited because this actually worked pretty well. In under 2 hours, I had the old door taken down, all the hardware and parts out, and back into this new door. And guys, she's ready for paint. Hopefully in the next video. Otherwise, I'll have to do a couple things in the meantime because I have to get that scheduled in. As you guys know, paint can be kind of a process sometimes, but the guys I'm going to, well, they're just the best in the business, and you're not going to want to miss that video. And the only way not to miss it is to subscribe to the channel. That way you know what's going on, and hit that bell notification too. Anyways, I'm going to link this door in the description below if you're interested in it. And while you're at it, hit that like button for me. If you guys got value out of this, if you enjoyed it, if you just like old trucks, hit that like button for me. And if you're interested, you guys can hang out with us in the meantime on Facebook and Instagram at The Brothers Workshop.